Tonight on your FBC News, hospitalised man seeks answers from employers after getting injured on the job. SCC to retain more than half of redundant workers. And new homes for G2 squatters to be ready soon. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate. A 25-year-old man is seeking answers from his employers after sustaining injuries that forced the amputation of his leg. Currently admitted at the Colonial War Memorial Hospital, Poasa Kolinitanga claims the logging company he works for refuses to take responsibility for his injuries. Mikalonga with this exclusive story.
Poasa Kolinitanga on his hospital bed at the acute surgical unit at CWM. He alleges his left leg was run over by a caterpillar last month, and as a result, doctors were forced to amputate. His dispute with the company centers around his use of a chainsaw and the non-payment of his wages.
Sadhu told me to take a chainsaw. I'm not supposed to operate a chainsaw. However, there was no one else. They're saying I was not supposed to operate a chainsaw. I said, yeah, I'm not supposed to, but you gave it to us to clean the track. I had my back on the caterpillar which was reversing and ran over my leg. It stopped when I shouted.
However, Kwila logging foreman Sikele Silikimbao refutes these claims, saying the caterpillar hit a log which fell on Poasa's leg. He maintains Poasa is a floorman and was never told to operate a chainsaw.
No. Who said that? No. There's some confusion in this.
Poasa and his wife claim that company representatives visited him in hospital just twice in the last 5 weeks of his admission.
They brought only $50. The other day, they only brought $20. I told them I have to think about it because I won't walk again.
It's not good for him to change his word. They're lying.
He said to keep his wages until he is discharged from hospital. His wife heard what he said.
Kwila logging owner Pradeep Chan told FBC News Poasa has himself to blame. According to Seni Mary, her husband is still in a lot of pain and his condition is worsening by the day.
He has other injuries here and here which are causing him great pain. He can't sit up or get out of bed.
At 8 months pregnant with no source of income, Seni Mary is left to rely on her parents for her financial needs. Mikalonga, FBC News.
While concerns have surfaced on the fate of road workers in the country, there is hope that many will be redeployed or employed by the Fiji Roads Authority. And taking the first step forward is the Suva City Council, saying it will keep more than half of workers that have been told to go. Ritika Pratap reports.
After several discussions and assessments, the council has decided to retain most of the 180 staff that were employed in the depot, tasked to patch and do road markings. The special administrator says the decision was based on their performance.
The resident 30 that we have identified, some of them are just coming up to the retirement age. Some of them, if I can say, their performance wasn't good. They're missing work a lot. They were not doing work as per their JD. And these people, if I can say, these are the ones going home.
Omaria also says sending workers home will have some adverse effects.
Without job, there can be a lot of problems, not only for them and their families, but in fact the country.
These workers will now work for other departments within the council.
From the road section, they'll be redeployed in other sections, maybe in the market, or maybe in the parks and garden areas, or some other areas in the council.
Around 1,500 workers from the Department of National Roads have been made redundant. Ritika Pratap, FBC News.
Steps are now being taken to improve investment approval processes and procedures. Investment Fiji today brought together a number of agencies to thrash out what the problems are and how to overcome them. Edwin Nunn takes a look.
The number one complaint for would-be investors is the time wasted in getting all the right approvals, running from one agency to another, and then waiting days to hear back.
Fiji is one of the most investment-friendly and competitive economies in the South Pacific, and I accept that we are facing some challenges with our investment approval process. However, I can assure you that Investment Fiji is determined to improve on our current approval process so as to retain and attract greater foreign and domestic investments.
With the removal of the $250,000 threshold for foreign investors, Investment Fiji expects busy days ahead.
investment applications in the coming year. All applications will still have to be vetted, and Investment Fiji will do its utmost to scrutinise these applications as and where required.
Gathered in this room are representatives from the Immigration Department, Reserve Bank, the Registrar of Companies and IT Services. They are the ones involved in the approvals processes and facilitation.
We shall be working intensively in the coming year to improve the requirements for foreign and domestic investors to enable a more transparent and streamlined investment process.
In 2012, it's estimated there was $760 million worth of investment. Edwin Nand, FBC News.
Former Prime Minister Laisini Ngarase will remain in prison over Christmas after the Court of Appeal refused his application for bail pending appeal this morning. Ngarase's application was heard last month and a ruling was scheduled for deliverance today. Ngarase was convicted and sentenced to 12 months imprisonment on charges of abuse of office and discharge of duty with respect to property. Ngarase cited 10 grounds in his application seeking bail. The respondent, the Fiji Independent Commission Against Corruption, filed objections to Ngarase's affidavit, including denying the likelihood of success on appeal. Resident Justice of Appeal Suresh Chandra refused Ngarase's application, saying he thinks it's appropriate to take the necessary steps to have the appellant's appeal heard in the next session of the Court of Appeal, which is likely to be February next year. It's been a long time coming, and after years and years of hard work and patience, the new and proper homes for squatters at the Langi Langi settlement in Jitu Estate is finally taking shape. In fact, as Shireen Lata reports, residents will relocate in less than a few months.
Luata Bulitatini has been whistling for years to make the workers build quicker a new house. After spending 35 years in the squatters of Langi Langi settlement, she is excited to move to the new residential block where she will spend the rest of her life.
When we start give $1 every week for the house, until now, they all tell us to move in as quick as we can now. But all of us, especially me, I like to move quickly. It's a very nice house.
Construction work on the $8 million project began after consultations with residents last year.
So it's been a dream that people have been saving, even if it's just $1 a week. They've been saving to make their contribution to the development. And it's been a dream, a hope that people have had in their hearts.
The new blocks will house more than 1,200 people.
We're supposed to start moving in about January, February, about March next year. Say about Easter, let's generally. They should finish at about February, as he said, finish in February, and whether we should be moving in soon after that.
In a few months, this place will have a proper residential block, a kindergarten, a sports ground, a taxi stand, and a marketplace for the residents to sell their produce. Shireen Lata, FBC News.
Still to come on FBC News, thousands turn up to corrections recruitment drive. Welcome back. You're watching FBC News. A decree will soon be in place that will see changes to company laws in Fiji. The Company Decree 2012 is currently being prepared by government. Epeli Tukawasa reports.
The Company Decree 2012 is on its second round of public consultations, and government will decide when to finalize the piece of legislation. The main objective is to bring about changes to adopt modern business practices and sound governance principles.
There will be a lot of changes, and we're allowing a transition period for people to make the changes that they need to make. But one of the major planks of the new legislation is that we want to reduce red tape. And as we go forward, I think we'll find that there's a lot less red tape, a lot less compliance that companies have to go through. Setting up a new company will be a lot easier.
Bruce Cowley says government has identified many loopholes in Fiji's Company Act.
That's right. The old Companies Act we have now is about 50 years old, and things have changed around the world. And the plan was to start with a clean sheet of paper for Fiji to adopt a new law altogether, try to pick up the best practice from around the world.
Attorney General Ayaze Kiyum says all companies will be required to register under the new decree by next year.
with the new company's decree to come into force, we envisage early next year. There'll be some transitional provisions, of course, in relation to some of the matters that need to be perhaps brought on foot a bit later on, but not without too much delay.
The Company Decree 2012 will incorporate components of the Companies Decree Regulations of 2012 and Companies of Winding Up Rules 2012. Epeli Tukwasa, FBC News.
A huge crowd turned up at the Corriveau Correction Centre today for the Fiji Corrections Services staff recruitment drive. As Akosita Tale reports, they came in the thousands, all hoping to be one of the 105 to be selected in the coming days.
More than 2,000 youths turned up for the first recruitment drive at the Central and Eastern Division. While some here are already working and want a future with the Corrections Department, scores of others are here because they are unemployed. Either way, the Corrections Department believes those recruited will add manpower, contributing immensely towards the prevention of prison breakouts.
We're grateful that Cabinet has approved the funding for the recruitment of 315 officers to join the service. These 315 will be phased out over the next 3 years.
One important criteria for those thinking of coming to the recruitment drive is fitness.
At Fiji prisons for the last 4 years. I spent about 6 months for them, and I've been applying for a long time. And maybe this is my lucky charm.
And also the recent breakouts, I think I can make it with the passing of the recruitment and all the process. So yeah, I think I can make a little bit of difference.
The first day of recruitment has recorded a massive number, and the same is expected for Lautoka and the Northern Division later this week.
These officers, there will be 50 plus stationed here at our new remand center in Corriveau, which is expected to be completed by Feb.
The new recruits are expected to pass out at the end of January next year. Aksita Tale, FBC News.
Prepare to be captivated. That's the word from Conch, a New Zealand production company here to showcase the art of Masi or Tapa through a play. Portraying a love story, the show reflects Masi patterns that explore loss, memory and the journey that make us who we are. Vosita Kotoi Wasawasa reports.
The Masi was a hit during the New Zealand Arts Festival earlier this year, drawing on history, mythology and craft. The show also centers around how the director's parents met and fell in love.
How we've put it on stage is through using Fijian mecha dancers.
Nina Nawalwalo is urging the public to come forward and be part of the show next week.
I think that they won't have seen anything like this because it is all this. You know, we've got a lot of theatrical styles in this work. We've got dance, magic, acting.
Masi maker Romiriama Tumbailangi was a school dropout who spent most of her time in the village learning and printing Masi. For her, it was a dream come true to fly all the way to New Zealand and be part of the team.
I really enjoyed being part of the show when we performed in New Zealand. The show is about how we make Masi, and I also did some magic on stage.
Renowned illusion designer Paul Keeve will be in the country on Monday to help the team prepare. The shows are on Thursday, Friday and Saturday next week. Vosita Kote Wasawasa, FBC News.
And it's that time again. Jamie is here with Wednesday Sports. So, the FRU says our Sevens coach will not be shown the exit door?
Well, Jackie, despite our performance in Dubai, Alifreddin Dere still has the backing of the top brass. Also tonight, Police retains Sukuna Bowl football title. These stories and more after the break. Welcome back. You're watching FBC Sports. The Fiji Sevens team's failure in the Dubai Sevens has people calling for the resignation of head coach Alifreddin Dere. But Rugby House says this is not going to happen. Shelvin Chan spoke to Fiji Rugby Union Chairman Colonel Mosese Tikoitonga on issues surrounding the team and the coach.
Is head coach Alifreddin Dere to blame for the Fiji Sevens team's poor outing last weekend? and as consequence, should his head roll? Fiji Rugby Union does not think so.
I ask people who are calling for their resignation or the players released from the squad is just uncalled for. We have to give everybody a chance. Not every coach. I mean, the South African coach has never won consecutive tournaments for a long time, but they've kept the same coach. Because he has to go through the experience, and the longer you keep him there, the longer he learns the job. But they still have him there, despite all the results that he's had. Nobody's calling for his resignation, and why should we do the same, do that there?
Fiji Rugby Union has agreed on the plan put in by the coaching panel, and they will see the plan through. FRU says one tournament does not dictate the final outcome.
I think we should congratulate the team. It was a very new team, but they reached the quarterfinals. Teams like England, the defending champion, fell short and played in the bowls. South Africa have played in the bowls. Samoa won the competition, but in the last few competitions they were playing in the bowls and the plate competitions. You know, every team have their ups and downs. The only consistent team at the moment is the New Zealand team. How do we get to be like the New Zealand team? Well, you know, for one, they are full-time players. They get paid to train, they get paid to live rugby.
Despite calls for their sacking, he is staying on. And so is his strategy for rotating teams for the different legs of the IRB 7 series. He is still hoping to an improved performance in South Africa this weekend. Shelvin Chan, FBC Sports.
The Digicel Fiji Sevens rugby side is in South Africa, and team management say they have to work hard to achieve success this weekend. Hit by a barrage of criticism from all quarters, the national side needs to step up, and there are no two ways about it. Indra Singh with more.
Redemption is on the cards as the Fiji Sevens side builds up for the South Africa tournament this weekend. And the team understands well what pressure they are under because of the disastrous outing in Dubai.
That's why we are here, myself and the management are here. Whenever the team is loose, we need to go back, see what we are lacking. We then try to, you know, bring up back and get the morale for our next tournament.
The question which remains is, what is the team doing to overcome the tag of playing like they don't know the game Fijians are renowned for worldwide?
It's all apart from us who are with the team to see that the morale is maintained and they focus into the job to be done.
Most pundits are already ruling out Fiji of doing any better in South Africa and going to the extent of saying we could even feature in the bowl competition.
No teams are easy team nowadays, not like before. All the teams are prepared well, so we treat all the teams equally. You know, it's come on Saturday, we won't take any team lightly. We need to maintain our team in the series, so we need to beat them.
Come Monday morning, Alfred Indere and his men will know what and where they stand in the series. Can they turn around and give us a masterpiece? Only hope remains, and only time will tell. Indra Singh, FBC Sports.
Police drew first blood in the BSP Life Sukuna Bowl by winning the soccer match against Army 3-1, setting a platform for the showdown this Friday. The rivalry between the two disciplined forces is still very much alive. Shelvin Chand has more.
Defending soccer champs, Police were surprised early in the first half when Army drew first blood. But the second half saw a different story.
Second half, the thing that has been taught to us by our coach was for us to believe in ourselves and for us to be composed, especially in that tight situation. We were 1-0 down and we were able to come up and beat the military team.
Both sides had district reps, but according to Police, it was belief that saw them win again.
According to our game plan, we did not do what we were supposed to do. But as we went along, we started playing, putting the ball down on the ground. We played the ball, and we came out victors.
The Police are hoping that their win inspires their rugby team to wrestle the Sukuna Bowl away from the soldiers.
This will be a solid platform for the rest of the Police Sukuna Bowl teams. And we wish them well on their remaining matches, and we will be supporting them throughout.
As of last night, it's one apiece to Army and Police, with the soldiers able to win the overall boxing bouts last night. The rugby match is booked on Friday at Churchill Park. Shelvin Chand, FBC Sports.
And the stage is set at the National Hockey Centre for 8 days of Oceania turf battles. A spot to the second round of the World Series in India is up for grabs. And as Elena McDonald reports, hype is building as day one approaches.
The flags are up. Teams have already started to arrive, and it's 2 more days before the Oceania Pacific Cup and World Series kicks off here in Suva.
Fiji has become the hub for the Oceania Pacific Cup, and with the World Series added to the mix, teams have turned over a new leaf to become the best.
Their teams are being prepared really well, and they are really seeing this as an opportunity to really compete with Fiji this year and really push Fiji for this place to go to India.
Papua New Guinea is one team that's already sent their message to the hosts.
Their parting words to me when I left is, you tell Fiji to watch out. So Papua New Guinea are really on track. Vanuatu is our newest member, and very exciting. Last year they came with a men's team. This year we've done a lot of work with them, and they have a women's team.
First to arrive are the Samoa women, but without their men's team. Flight issues has denied the men from participating, leaving the onus on their women to make for a dramatic comeback from their 5th place finish last year to do both sides proud this time around. Elena McDonald, FBC Sports.
That's your Wednesday night sports, and I'll be back again tomorrow at the same time. Until then, good evening.
The third sugar export for the 2012 crushing season is on its way to London. The Fiji Sugar Corporation sells all its raw sugar to London-based Tate & Lyle Refinery Company Limited under a negotiated price for this season. Further negotiations will take place between the sugar buyer and the corporation for next year. A cargo vessel loaded a total of 30,775 tons of raw sugar at the Lautoka Wharf and left for London. The corporation says so far around 93,000 to 94,000 tons of sugar has been exported this crushing season. There are 2 more shipments expected later on. And on that sweet note, Genevieve joins us with the latest weather update.
Well, Jackie, I don't know about you, but I'm getting tired of this gloomy weather. Now, apart from Nandi, Lautoka and Ba, who were graced with some sunshine this morning, it was a rather dull day all over. And by this afternoon, there was rain and thunderstorms in most places. Nandi and Lombasa were the hottest today, recording temperatures of up to 33 degrees. Suva and Savasavu weren't far behind, recording the lowest temperatures of 31. Expect tomorrow to be no different from today. A bit of cloud in the morning, but definitely rain and thunderstorms in the evening. And for the further outlook, expect cloudy periods with some showers over the eastern parts and interior of the larger islands. Afternoon or evening showers elsewhere.
Thanks so much for that, Genevieve. And that's your FBC News for tonight. But before we go, the headlines again. Hospitalized man seeks answers from employers after getting injured on the job. SCC to retain more than half of its redundant workers, and new homes for G2 squatters to be ready soon. Remember, our opinion poll remains open. Is coach Aliferet Ndere to blame for the Dubai Sevens loss? To answer, visit www.fbc.com.fj. And for newsworthy pictures and videos, please send them to email address citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj. Until tomorrow, good evening.